Hi, this is Travis Mitchell completing week two interview question for CSE 212. And week two interview question brings up a scenario where you're talking about data structures that you use for a garden simulator game. And to answer the questions, the first question asks about basically how that like what data structure you would use. And the best data structure for the supply basket is a stack because it follows last in, first out principle. The game says the player has to plant the most recently collected seeds before planting any older seed piles, which is exactly how a stack works. Every time the player finds a new pile of seeds, that pile is pushed onto the top of the stack. When they plant seeds, they pop the top item off the stack until the pile is gone, and then they move on. They move to the next one underneath, and they can plant that one. Adding new seeds to the supply basket has a time complexity of big O1 or constant time because pushing an item onto the top of the stack always takes the same amount of time, regardless of how many seed piles are already there. And removing seeds is also big O1 because popping the top item is just as efficient. Finally, checking whether the supply basket is empty is also a big O1 because the program only needs to check whether the stack contains any items. It doesn't have to look through the entire basket to determine that. This scenario actually reminded me of a card game that me and my family play called Bonanza. One mechanic, sorry, one mechanism of the game is that it works like a queue initially because you're required to play the top card from your hand in the order that you receive them. But there's another section of the game that's similar to this assignment. After you play the cards from your hand in using essentially the queue data structure, you are then dealt or you flip two cards from the top of the deck, and those have to be dealt with immediately before you can continue playing. So those cards that are flipped are a lot like a stack because they become your immediate priority, and you have to handle those before anything else, before you can continue the game. So it's interesting to me to find different ways that these structures are built into games and also everyday systems around us. Once you start recognizing them, they're really easy to see, and you can see how these methods fit into things that we sometimes take for granted. Thank you. Have a great day.